Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelly McConnell, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration here at UUFA. I'm delighted to be with you this morning as we welcome our new interim minister in her first official day, Reverend Lisa. We're so happy to have you in the pulpit this morning. And of course, we welcome you with open arms into this fellowship. I'm here this morning because I want to share a little story about a little girl who started her life many years ago on a Navy base. This child was like any other child. She loved to play badminton, backgammon. She loved to make up and read stories, and she really enjoyed baking and eating pie. She was just like any other kid. And every Sunday, she went with her family to church. Now, this church was unique because on a Navy base, there are often multiple religions meeting in one building. They all share an all faiths chapel. So, this child would come to church. She was a Protestant, which means she was Christian. She would come to church and she would see other forms of worship and other religions, and she was very curious about these forms of religion. And she was always wondering, like, what are they doing? What are they thinking? What do they believe? And she would see things like statues from other religions. She would see things like, this is the Torah. There was a synagogue. There was a Jewish community that met there. There was a Catholic mass that was held in her church. And they would have frankincense on the air, and she would smell something really unique and different, and she was really curious about it. And her whole life, she was just always sort of wondering, what else is out there? And she knew that in the depths of her heart, the most important part of religion for her was the spirit of love that she found at her church. But as she grew up and got older, she started to question some things about the beliefs of people at her church. She noticed that some of the things that they were teaching her weren't fair to all people. That didn't make her feel good. She felt like there was some things that really weren't fair about her religion. She wanted to make sure that her life was a fair life where everybody had equal rights. So, as she grew up, she sort of let go of the religion of her birth and of her youth, and she moved away from organized religion, but she never ever let go of the spirit of love. And one day, she followed her spirit of love to a picnic where she met a young man who also had a pretty obvious spirit of love inside of himself. And one time he said, "Would you like to come with me to my Unitarian Universalist church?" And she said, "I don't really do religion. I'm kind of good with it. But thank you, And he said, "Okay, well, it's really not like what you would expect of a church. We foster a spirit of love in UUism." She thought, I'll give it a shot. So she went to the Unitarian Universalist Church, and she felt almost instantly like she had found her people. And she found that these UUs were investing in social justice action. They were uplifting their local community. They were doing really good work, and they were also exploring different ideas of what is right and what is right for me might not be right for you, and that's okay. And she found this to be really freeing and really, really, really good for her, because everything again was founded in this spirit of love. So she followed that spirit of love. She became a UU minister. And as time went by, her heart continued to grow, and she continued to respond to the affirming community of Unitarian Universalism, and the spirit of love continued and continues to grow inside of her. And that call for her to serve a larger cause through preaching and teaching and pastoral care and doing justice work and nurturing families and nourishing individuals continues to flourish after 25 years of ministry. And so today we welcome that little girl who started off on the Navy base, playing badminton, backgammon, writing stories, and baking pies, and enjoying pies, into our fellowship. And like I said, some of this was, I used a little liberty here, but most of this story is true. And that young girl is now our new interim minister, Reverend Lisa. And she's not a young girl anymore. She's a very experienced minister. And we're very lucky to have her. So this morning we gather in the spirit of love to welcome Reverend Lisa with our whole hearts. And we also take a moment to remember that, just like the song that we heard earlier, where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Life is a riddle and a mystery, and you just never know what a chance encounter with another person might spring forth in your life. What inspiration might come from a chance encounter. Be well, stay blessed, and I'll see y'all soon.